Hello, welcome back to Hot Air. I'm Lloyd.
I'm Tony.
Nice for everybody to be back. We've had a little summer break, haven't we?
We have,
We've
yeah,
had
3 weeks off.
3 weeks off, yeah. So anyway, yeah, nice to be back. We've got lots. We literally have carfuls of stuff.
Yeah, too much really, but we'll manage.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
Well, actually, I've been testing some stuff over the last couple of weeks. I've been testing trail cams.
Right.
I've been testing a few other rifles. I'm not going to mention them yet, but we'll do them in the future shows. But I have actually been testing the RTI Priest out. Because we did the Priest, when was it, 3 shows ago?
Yeah, something like that.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I've been testing the Priest out. In fact, I've been testing it out that much. I bought one.
Good grief.
I know. I didn't think I'd have another pre-charged because I bought an FX Streamline about 9 months ago. So I've sold my Streamline. And I just sort of thought I'd have something different, and I really got taken with the Priest. Yeah. So the nice thing is that now as I've got the Priest, I've had quite a few people say, "Will you do a long-term test?" And it's difficult, isn't it, when you don't own it yourself?
Absolutely.
But now as I own it myself, I actually will be doing a long-term test, and so in the next couple of months. In fact, actually, that leads me on to something else I've been doing, which is securing the land for the outdoor range.
Right.
Again, a lot of people have been watching this are sort of saying, when are you gonna sort of shoot outdoors, and when are you gonna have proper tests and everything, and we are gonna do it. We're gonna have a really great personal outdoor range for us to do the testing, so I've been working on that, and it looks like we're going to get it in November.
And we've got, they may have noticed the lighting is better.
Yeah, if you and I can now bang, evidently I banged on the desk a lot, sorry about that, but evidently I can now bang on the desk without the camera picking it up, because we've got a new Canon, people want to know, I don't know, an EOS M50, is it? Canon EOS M50, I don't know, I'm not really familiar with it, but we've got a new camera, guys, and we've got new sound equipment as well, so hopefully you won't get that horrible flashing, and you won't get the terrible sound sort of spikes when I'm bashing on the desk like ranting and whatever I'm doing. So new camera, which is really, I'm really impressed. So basically that's about it. Sounds
fantastic.
It, really.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Well, I've got a bit actually, but 2-3 weeks ago I was at Ragley Hall, which is what used to be the CLA Game Fair, but it's now the Game Fair because CLA no longer own it, so it's privately owned. And this is the 3rd year they've run it. So I hadn't actually exhibited at it the first year or the second year. I wasn't involved in anybody who went, but on the 3rd year I was. So this is the 3rd year, and I was there on a stand, and it was very interesting, but interesting in a sad way really, because the weather. Have had. We've never had weather.
Was that the one with 4 seasons in one day?
4 seasons one day. If you didn't like the weather, wait a minute, because it was just completely mad. We'd had a whole summer of 8 to 10 weeks of just baking hot weather in England. Everybody looking at the sky and doing rain dances and nothing. That's not Britain. It just rains, doesn't it, most of the time. And this summer has just been dry and dry and dry and dry, until we go to the biggest game show of the year. So we set up on the Thursday, howling winds, everything being blown over. Come the Friday, which is the first day, completely desert, baking hot, 37 degrees in the tent I was in. Everybody was dying. We weren't calling people customers, we were calling them survivors, because it looked like they were sort of being dragged march or croak out the front of the stand. Very few people, because it was too hot to bring a dog out, for instance. So these shows are mostly dog owners, taking their families and dogs out for a walk. They didn't go. So it was completely dead really for Friday for show. And you could see the effort the show organiser put in this year. This was the 3rd year after all. The one that's supposed to finally bring home the bacon, and it was all, they had new road equipment, they had new signs, and everybody had gone. A lot of people who hadn't gone the previous 2 years were finally persuaded to go in this 3rd year. And then we had a desert on the Friday. But you didn't have to wait long, because on the Saturday we had howling winds, tents were blowing away, the big Rimini ASI stand, the roof blew, half the roof blew off. That's a 71,000 reputed stand that cost, and it's kind of started to dissolve with the wind. Then we had torrential rain towards the end of the day. It was awful on the Saturday, and that kept the crowds away. And then Sunday we just had more rain. We had horizontal rain. pretty much all day.
But apart from that, it was great.
It was the show, but you felt sorry because a lot of people spent a lot of money to go to that show. Not only the entrance fee, which was 30 something quid, but the people on the stand were paying a fortune to be there, you know, and put there on and spent. Some people have spent months. The organisers have spent all year getting ready for it, and yet it was completely washed out. And come the Monday, weather's nice again, all dry. And really, we haven't seen anything like that since.
Right.
So it was just that weekend, and it destroyed it.
Right.
So there's nothing that the organisers could do. I don't know where they go from there. I suppose they just run it again next year. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, lightning hopefully won't strike twice.
Well, it's these outdoor shows, you know, you really do take a gamble. You're putting a huge amount of money into the stand, the equipment, the tentage, and then you're just hoping that Mother Nature doesn't screw it all up. And in this case, it was completely, you know, buggered by it. So you don't know what's got to be done. And I think that maybe that's one of the demises of the outdoor shows. We're noticing the outdoor shows, the numbers are going down and down and down. Some of that is due to the change in people's attitudes, because they used to go to these shows to get a deal. Now there are no deals. So they go.
Why are there no deals?
Because it's so expensive to go there. So you have to recover your costs. Plus, if you're a shop owner, I completely understand why a shop doesn't go. Your busiest day is Saturday. Yeah, so you've got to close the Saturday. Great. So you lose your busiest day.
Yep.
You've got to take a pentack full of equipment and equipment.
Pay for the staff.
Pay for the staff, extra staff. Maybe you're leaving your shop open as well. You should do, because you don't want to lose those customers who are going to turn up and find you locked. So you've got to have your shop open. You've still got to have product in there. You've still got to have good staff in there on a Saturday.
Yep.
And yet you've got to find from nowhere equally competent staff to spend 3 days in a field, pay for their hotel or camping, wages, and you've got to drag all that equipment. You've got to pay for the tent. You've got to have equipment that you don't need for the rest of the year to put it up. It's very difficult for a shop to have.
And another thing is this is one of the reasons why I didn't go, because I didn't like. We didn't go to a lot of these big events because I felt that we would reduce the capabilities of our shop, and to be honest with you, that's what we're known for. So obviously, if I take all my good stuff out of the shop,
and it's the same for every shop,
and profit margin,
yeah, exactly. And the people who are going, they're spending a lot of money to get in. I think even discount tickets were £25 per person. So you've got that per day. So you've got that entrance fee to pay to get in. You expect to see something, and you expect to get deals when you're there. And when you find there aren't any deals, you stop going. And I think that's pretty much what's happening.
I wonder. I think it'd be quite interesting that a lot of my viewers obviously won't know what margins retailers make, and it'd be quite. It's sort of quite a bit of a shock.
I was going to actually say that later. I can publish them if you want on this show. If you'd like to do that.
Yeah, why not? I mean, to be honest,
the
thing is, there's nothing embarrassing. I mean, if we were making 200% profit margin, and stuff, you know, if we were buying it for 50 quid and selling it for 300, you'd be probably a little bit embarrassed.
But people don't see that the shops need to make money, because of course you don't have to pay your staff, you don't have any rates or rent or any drawings that you want to take out of it. So they think that what you buy them from the manufacturer should be what you're charging. Maybe a fiver.
I think most people I mean, it's a lot of my customers actually did understand it, and they were quite surprised how low the margins were.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously, you know, when you're dealing with like 50 or 100% profit margins, it gives you a little bit of leeway that if things aren't right, you know, if somebody brings something in. You know, you can almost throw it away and give them a new one, and that happens in some industries, don't it? Where they literally just throw it in the bin.
Well, I mean, there's always the tales of what margins are. A jeweler's margin is supposed to be reputed to be 300%. So you know that's why the trade-in on a diamond ring is nothing. You know, because they are sitting on a fortune worth of the bank money, and it has to be paid for. So, you know, therefore, when they sell something, they need to make a decent margin.
Yeah.
If you go to the other end, you go to the computer industry, some of these computer companies work for 10%. So you've got to shift a lot of boxes to make a living. 10%, you really cannot make a living. I think it's been proven time and time again that if you're making a 10% margin, you can't do it. But the computer industry tends to do that. Houses, supposed to be about 25%.
Do you know what the average is for the airgun industry?
I do.
Shall we tell everybody? I've got. Well,
you first.
As far as I know, I thought it was around about 25%.
Yeah, it's about that. It's 20, 25, and it can go into the 30s depending on the product. Accessories are a bit more, but the actual guns themselves can be lower than 20.
Okay, I was going to say basically I was talking about overall. The overall margin that I think most gun shops have is around about 22 to 27%.
Yeah, on the gun. The guns are kind of low because you've got to have them.
Some guns that we sell, you're working on around about 10 to 15.
Yeah. From the manufacturer's point of view, if you start to give shops a bigger margin, for instance, I remember the Air Ranger, when we launched that, we gave the shops something like 35-40%, and there was only 10 or so shops who allowed it. The first thing they do is give it back. So the first thing they do is discount the product to give themselves the edge, which is fair enough. That's what they're there to do, is bring trade into their shop. Well, that then drives the price down, which is good for the consumer, but not for the manufacturer, because a lot of shops won't work for that margin, and therefore they won't stock your product.
It's good. It's good for the consumer that bought it at the discounted price. It's not awesome for the guy that actually went to his little local shop and paid, what was it, $8.95, and then he finds like some mail order companies doing it for $7.85. So
it's best to have. It's best for everybody, though it's hard to get this across, to have an even price across. And another reason why you don't want a discounted price in one place and another is that you actually put a barrier in the way of the sale. So the guy goes in the shop and he looks at a gun and he goes, I like that, I'm going to buy that, but I'm not going to buy that because I might be able to get it cheaper somewhere else. So he's just wasted an hour of that shop's time, but he doesn't buy, he goes out of the shop and he starts trawling on the internet to see if he can get it cheaper. Now maybe he will, maybe he won't. Maybe he's got to drive to the Outer Hebrides to get it at the low price, or he's got to get it mail ordered through a £25 cash thing through a shop. But he may not buy that product again because he's done it, hasn't he? He's looked at it, he might buy something else. So all that effort in getting that guy in the shop to buy something, and it's lost because you've allowed discounting. So it's generally not good for the industry. But obviously big margins aren't good either because it means that the prices are too high.
I think one thing this brings up as well is that we need to stick to a script.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, this wasn't supposed to happen at all. We literally spent about like 2 minutes going like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that.
Shall we go back to Ragley Hall?
So I'll tell you what. Yeah, let's go back to Ragley Hall. So, sorry about that. We just like drifted off the subject, didn't we? But hey ho. Ragley. Yeah, that's where we're up to. Ragley Hall.
Ragley Hall.
Right. Okay. So what did you see at Ragley Hall that was exciting?
Well, quite a lot actually. Windswept people being blown down the hill, tents disappearing over the top. But there was a few guns. So I saw some interesting stuff on the Weihrauch stand, Hull cartridge. I did an interview with Chris.
I actually used. You sent me a little video of the air arms as well. But I haven't seen the Weihrauch ones yet. So
shall we play the Weihrauch ones first?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. So it was Chris, was it? Chris. Hi, Chris. Chris is a great bloke. Actually, we deal with Hull cartridge. If everybody doesn't know, Hull cartridge have been the Weihrauch for forever.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, because Edgar Brothers were many years ago, weren't they?
I'm not that old.
Yeah. Well, I remember Edgar Brothers, and also as well, I think John Rothery Wholesale.
Good
God. But Hull cartridge have been doing a sterling job, in my opinion, with the distribution of Weihrauch in the UK. So anyway,
let's have a look at Chris.
Let's have a look at Chris. Back in a second.
Hi guys, it's Chris from Hull Cartridge. Thank you for having me on. I've just introduced the Ts400 kit to you. Fantastic little junior rifle. I'll steal Lloyd's joke. Definitely one for Tony. We've got the 4x32 Weihrauch scope fitted, muzzle brake as well, record trigger. You know more about it than I can ever tell you. Great little junior package. Comes in a gorgeous little presentation box. Christmas isn't that far away now you think about it. And you want one of those under the tree. Puts out about 7 foot-pound. Again, great junior rifle, but dads, if you can get your hands on one, you'll be amazed by the accuracy. Get nice little cloverleaf groups with these. We also do a synthetic version with open sights, as well as a wood version with open sights at the same sort of price. So £210 RRP for the kit and £190 for the synthetic and the wood one. Available from your local retailer. Thanks guys, take care, see you soon for some fish and chips, Lloyd. And what's this? Brand new official launch of the Weihrauch Hw110 carbine. Available to order from your local retailer next week. So obviously it's a carbine 110. This is feedback from you guys. We've changed the levers to black, so the next batch of 110s will come with the black magazine catch and safety. Again, a big thing from customer feedback. You wanted it changing. We listen, we work with Weihrauch to improve the product. So, short and light, 3 kilos, 50 shots 177, 70 in 2.2. It's got a lovely little bipod adapter on the front, little Weaver rail, mega light, mega compact, something we're really pleased with, and it's hopefully You guys are going to like it as much as we do. We're really impressed with it. Get one on back order if you want one. Thank you very much, and see you later.
Interesting videos.
Yeah, I thought so.
I didn't know anything about the Carbine 110.
It came out of the blue, didn't it?
It did, yeah. The 110's not been a massive seller for us, to be honest with you.
Shame, really, because I think it's a really good rifle. Yeah.
I think there's still a bit of a customer resistance to plastic. I honestly believe that, and I think as well that when you replace metal with plastic, it does get people's goat up a little bit.
Yeah, it did look a little bit monkey metal. They had that silver lever, the magazine release lever, and the safety catch, and they did look a bit like a toy. Yeah,
I know it's a fantastic rifle, and to be honest with you, we do sell a few 110s. It's just an extra, but I still think that the standard 100 is the way to go, or else a second-hand 100, which is cheaper than the 110. But each to their own. It's nice. It's great that we've got so much choice. The HW30, I really like the 30. It might be a low-powered rifle, but it seems to be it's a junior rifle or a rifle for maybe ladies or people who just don't want anything that heavy for the back garden plinking.
Yeah.
But they haven't compromised on quality. I really like that because a lot of junior rifles, they tend to put awful triggers on them.
Yeah, because they need a really good trigger because the trigger's too heavy for most of the juniors. So
most of the junior rifles that I've been offered, the trigger pulls are that heavy that juniors can't pull them.
But why wouldn't you buy something like an S200? Because that's the ideal junior rifle.
I like the idea of starting a junior off with a recoiling rifle because I think, to be honest with you, it teaches them more principles of shooting. It's more important, it's not as easy to start off with. And I suppose if you want to get a junior into putting an S200 where they can actually hit targets, great, but it's more expensive.
Yeah.
And I think if you're actually, you're spending time to get your kid into shooting, I think getting those principles down, the trigger technique and everything. But anyway, that's another story. We'll do. I want to do junior rifles.
Yeah, we'll cover that.
We'll have a little coverage on.
Some more videos. Would you want to see those?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. What have you got?
I've got something very interesting from Airguns.
Okay, let's have a look.
Chris, tell us a bit about it.
New rifle from Airguns, Ts400, been developed for the target sprint.
Okay.
Unique cocking lever on it.
Yeah. That is
Apparently
cool.
this is going to increase times for shooting your 5 targets and running your 400 metres.
Okay. Good demo.
Basically what we've got here,
Yep.
thumb it down, push forward, cocked, pellet in the top, pull it back and take a shot.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Chris.
You're welcome.
That looks really interesting. I wonder why they didn't do it with. Are they going to do it with the multi-shot magazine?
No, doesn't look like it. It looks like it needs to, but it,
I mean, it looks much better than the Galahad spoon.
Yes. Soup spoon.
And I wonder whether they're going to sort of. It needs to look a little bit more. In with the rifle.
It's functional, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's functional. That's the best you can say. But it does look better than the Galahad one.
Yes.
And it did not work. I mean, it was very, very tricky.
Was it?
It did work.
I'd love to see.
They need to put that on the
S510 or
510 or something like that.
That'd be really cool, actually. Yeah.
But there's one more.
Okay.
This one's MTC and Terence, my mate Terence. He's
Okay.
up showing us the new F1.
Let's have a look.
Here's the latest from MTC, the Cobra that we announced in January that everyone's eagerly anticipating. They should start shipping now in the next fortnight. We're eagerly awaiting them into stock. They have been shipped from overseas and will be with us shortly. 4 to 16 by 50, first focal plane with an RRP of £259.
Nice looking scope there from Terence. Terence actually is responsible for MTC, Daystate and Brocock, that's really coincidental.
We have one here.
Because we have a Brocock here.
Yeah.
And I think you're the man to talk about this, don't you think?
Yes, well I think it's a pretty interesting one. This is now an obsolete Contour S6, and we brought this along because we're going to do a whole load of old rifles, but we wanted to bring this in because...
Well, how old is this? This is not quite...
Not that old, no, I
quite
suppose
collectible
2000... So, Brocock was bought by Daystate, or the Daystate Group, and it was based in Redditch.
Do you want me to put that in there?
Yeah, I can put that in there. It was based in Redditch, so let's talk a little bit about Brocock. It was originally based in the gun started off as Saxby Palmer, didn't it? And then the Silcock brothers.
Saxby Palmer, Saxby and Palmer.
Saxby,
yeah, God, I remember Saxby and Palmer.
Saxby Palmer were bought out, or the design was bought out by the Silcock brothers, Gary and Nigel, and they named their company the brothers Silcock, so Brocock. That's where the name came from. And they set up in the gun quarter in Birmingham, and they started originally doing reenactment weapons, tandem air cartridge weapons. However, that caused problems. They were banned. So they started looking around to do something else.
Well, they were put on firearms certificate, weren't they?
Well, the firearms certificate then both essentially got rid of.
Yeah.
That's another story, isn't it? So we won't go on to that today. Maybe it's the tandem air cartridge is a story for a future episode.
Definitely, yeah, because we've got the Lee Enfield to cover. There's loads of stuff about it. It was a really interesting...
Yeah.
I know history.
I know there's this collection. To get it on the show, we've got to go to it. We can't come here, but maybe we'll do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So they set up in the gun quarter. They then moved to out to Redditch, and at some point, Falcon Airguns went into didn't go into liquidation. There was a buyout attempt by Brocock to buy Falcon.
Right.
That's Falconomatics.
Mm-hmm.
And
which people might know them as Titan.
It went Titan to Falcon.
Yep.
Another story.
Yep.
In that grows in the telling. And then so Titan moved across the road to Falcon. Falcon got into trouble and tried to sell to Brocock. Brocock incorporated all their equipment and staff, and then the deal fell through. Titan went into liquidation and was bought up by the NSP group and ended up down at Air Arms.
Which is Air Arms.
So Falcon is owned by Air Arms.
And now obviously, I don't know how long ago it was, but it was a few years ago that basically Air Arms, I think, realised that there was a,
it's difficult to do.
On
it's
what they were
very
selling.
difficult to do, and there's very good reasons for that. It's easy to make these judgments, but to make it work is hard. So they bought Falcon, but they left the staff behind. So the staff was sitting in Brocock. So the people who'd built the Falcon rifles, and indeed the Titan ones before that, namely Paul Bird, they were left sitting in a warehouse at Brocock in Redditch. So what do you do with skilled engineers? We put them to work, and they started to design rifles of their own. They started to design the Brocock PCPs, and there's a whole series of them, isn't there?
Yep.
It goes on forever. There's all sorts of different unique designs, and this is the last one. This was the last rifle that came out of Brocock at Redditch under the original Brocock ownership, and it was this lovely looking rifle, but it didn't sell.
It reminds me of a little bit of the old Titan sort of MPT style of gun, and actually it's a pretty
lovely
looking
rifle. Yeah.
Why didn't it sell? Was it price, or was it the name? Or
I don't think it was expensive for a Brocock. When you see the later Brococks, which I think we're going to show in a bit.
Do you remember what this retailed?
Yeah, it was $560, $559, I think it was. So,
right.
And that's the contour.
And that's without the scope, by
without the
folks.
scope, yeah. So that seemed a little bit expensive for Brocock at the time, which was selling around the 400, 450 mark.
Yeah.
This is an 1.25 inch tube, so bigger tube.
Steel.
Steel, yes.
Yep.
The problem with the early Brococks, the inch tube, is that it's all about exports these days. Most of the gun companies in Britain are doing really good job for the exchequer. They're 60, 70, 80% exports. Very nice to know that, isn't it? You know? But if you're going to have an export gun, they're all over 12 foot-pound. There is no export of 12 foot-pound. So you need air capacity. And if you've got an inch tube, you don't have any air capacity. So they designed this rifle with an 1.25 inch tube so they could use a long version and get the power up to 30 or even 40 foot-pounds.
Yep.
But this is a short version, which of course is stuck at 12, because you would get no shots at this at 30. And this was kind of the last gasp under the original design. I think what also banjaxed it was the 6-shot magazine. People want 10 shots really. 6 shots is, do you get many people asking for 6-shot rifles?
No.
No. There was also some indexing issues on some of the early ones.
Not half.
Yeah. So I think most of them generally didn't.
I think they got it's a shame as well, because I know they worked hard, but they did have a bit of a reputation for the magazines, which was a shame.
Really, behind the scenes, and I was behind the scenes at the time, there was a problem with different suppliers making different parts. The breech blocks came from one place, the indexing arms came from another. Then the next batch of breech blocks, because they couldn't afford to pay for the first ones, they came from somewhere else. And it was like that. And it wasn't until Daystick took over that they actually managed to get it all together and the guns started to get good. But by the time the guns were good, nobody wanted them. because the damage had been done. So really, the only thing they could do with this gun was chuck it. So let's chuck it and put something else in its place. You couldn't bring yourself to do it, could you?
No, I would never do that. And just if in John's is like looking bolt open. Oh, we were talking about
Yeah, we
this.
think
weren't
that's
we,
dangerous because it could be cocked.
Well,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, so it's a difficult one, isn't it? But anyway, right.
There we go.
Let me put something else in its place. Shall we bring? Actually, let's bring the whole box because I think it's nice to see how you buy these things. This is the latest Brocock. And actually, funny enough, somebody was asking me on the last video, said, "Are you going to do one of these?" So there you go.
Right.
Unfortunately, I can't remember your name, but yeah, here it
Happens.
is.
But this is the very latest Brocock, isn't it?
This is the very latest Brocock.
Let's see what we've got.
I'm not gonna do an unboxing video because who wants to talk about cardboard?
It's a box.
It's a box. Yeah. So let's get that out, and we've got a little plastic bag. We've got some bit of foam. That's the quickest unboxing video ever, isn't it? Really? There you go.
Great.
Done.
There we are. That's what you want to see, isn't it?
Okay. So
Unless you work at a box factory.
that's ever so slightly different than the last Brocock.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? This is the new.
Well, I tell you what. Before we, because you're the man to talk about this,
Okay.
really.
Yep.
But what we've got in the box? Let's have a look. Now we've got a magazine.
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Pen shot.
And I'm guessing that looks like it looks pretty standard.
Yeah, it's not a day stick magazine. It's kind of a development from it. It only goes in one side, whereas a day stick can be fitted in either.
Okay.
But it positively locates, and it's got a pretty.
I tell you what,
tidy
it's a
system.
look. I don't know whether you
been
can
a
get
nice
excited about magazines looking sexy, but
Well, you do when they
that's-
don't work.
that-
So that you know
that looks really nice, and it looks really well made.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a lovely looking
pretty
little
faultless as
magazine.
well.
So we've got a magazine.
Yep.
We've got two breech seal O-rings,
Yep.
spares. They don't. Is that because they keep breaking, or
Because you can, if you fire the gun with the bolt open, which you can do if you pull the bolt back and pull the trigger, you can pop the O-ring out.
Okay.
And particularly on the FAC ones because there's more air coming out.
Yeah.
So they give a
just
couple
in
in
case?
just in
Well,
case.
I suppose that's a good idea. Now I always like this. It's the we've got a little.
Yeah, this is the obligatory for the UK AMTA padlock.
That's proper quality. But actually, to be honest with you, I'm not going to take the
Do you know
mickey
what?
because that
Do
actually
you know
will
what?
do
They
the job.
don't cost much because you wouldn't expect a free gift to be cost much. But we lost the key for one. This morning we were having to take a gun off the wall where we use these, and we had to angle grind it off.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing would cut it.
Well,
It's
so that's
quite-
free.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And we've got something there. We've got the warranty registration card. We've got something else. Oh, 2-year warranty.
Yep.
And we've got another piece of paper that sort of says with compliments. Please refer to our website to download the Commander Handbook. So in other words, you don't get an instruction manual with it.
No, you will, but we haven't got them yet. They're still-
Oh, okay. I was going to say I don't like that because actually, believe it or not, even these days, some people don't have the internet or don't want to use the internet. So I think it's always nice to have a physical.
Yeah, I
manual
think
in the box.
I've speaking to Terence, that is in development.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. So in other words, if you bought one of these, will you retrospectively get one, or?
Well, I think you can
if you
retrospectively
ask
ask for one. They're not going to chase you around the country looking for you, but if you needed one, you could get one.
Okay, and the usual.
Yeah, that's slightly unusual, isn't it? Because it's longer.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the access point is
a bit
deeper.
Okay,
and
that's.
I've noticed that Daystate do that and FX do that, and I think that's now becoming the new standard. It's worth noting if you use an original Foster with a short throw and you put it on, it can be a bit of a trick to get it out again. And I have a patented technique with a screwdriver blade to get them out because I've done it a couple of times by accident. There were some of these with an extension piece. That's now been superseded with a proper best fittings fitting.
And I've just noticed as well, it's actually the actual charging port's oval shaped, and if you try to, you can't get it out like that. But if you turn it sideways, then it comes out. It's with little tiny magnets on the bottom, so that's okay. That's nice. So that's just. I don't think we should give a full rundown how it works because there's dozens of boring videos that tell you exactly how these things work.
There's some interesting aspects. The first one is.
So I turn it around because actually it looks better with the gauges on that side as well.
Yeah,
I think that looks.
So it's got 2 gauges, and there's a reason for that. Because it's got a regulator in there.
Right.
So if you, and I think we've gone through this on other guns, is if you've got a regulator in there, then the phone calls, my reg's gone down, I think my reg's broken, are really difficult to micromanage because you have no idea whether it has or not over a phone call. Now we've got a tell. We've got something on there that you can see the gauge moving. So you've got one gauge which tells you the air pressure in the tube,
Yep.
the bottle in this case, and the other gauge tells you the reg pressure. And that's not so significant because it'll be higher on a high power gun and lower on a low power gun. But what the reg pressure does is tell you that there's actually regs working. You can see the needle flicker when you fire the rifle, and that tells you that the reg is emptying and filling. So you've got something that you can prove that the reg's actually working. If the reg's leaking, the gauge will go up.
Okay.
If the gun stopped working, the reg will go down and stop. And you can see. So when a reg jam's closed, which is another thing they do, is that what happens is as you fire the shots, it goes down and goes empty, then you get a click.
Right.
And then over the next 2 or 3 hours, it links back up again. And that's a very nice way of telling that you've got a problem.
Okay.
So that's that. There's some other details on there. You've got a Picatinny rail, which is an optional extra. So 20mm rail comes.
Oh, we know.
Oh, no, it's not on this one. It's standard on this
I
one.
was going to say because that's come out. This literally, I just took this out of the
no,
shop.
it's on the
So
Bantam 2 HR Sniper. That's got an optional extra. On the Commander, it's a standard kit.
Wasn't it really? It was really expensive as well, wasn't it, on the HR to get the
Yeah,
Picatinny?
£87,
which is
something like
crackers,
that.
to be
Yeah.
honest. I can't see the point. In fact, I'm not really that bothered about Picatinny. Most people have got
I'm
standard
not.
rails.
They
but
do look cool on this kind of gun, don't they? Though? I mean, that's the thing. It looks the part. And when you've got a scope fitted, it does look kind of cool as well, and it's part of it. But
So
you don't need a
it-
recoilless mount.
I was going to
for a
say it's
non-recoiling
an
gun.
aesthetic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But this one's also got, and this is something interesting. I was shooting one of these the other day, for the first time really, and the adjustable butt pad. Now that for us, we're always
If
a
we-
different view.
If
as
we
to
were
what-
a couple and we shared a gun between us, that would be absolutely perfect, wouldn't it?
yeah, that would be. But I kind of, you know, I was going to say if you're wearing a flat jacket, you want a shorter butt, but
Yeah.
I don't think that happens in airgunning too much, you know. But anyway, you've got the other aspect, is you might be shooting out of
That's
a car
taking
window.
safety to the nth degree,
That's
really,
right,
isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, but that was the reason for the adjustable butts in the first place, was because when you're wearing body armour, you need a shorter reach to pull. But see, with this, you can that's junior length.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me just have a look at that. Oh, good grief! Yeah, that's
Junior length. That's proper junior length. There's your HW30
do you know what? It's funny, isn't it?
replacement.
Because it is actually still usable.
Yeah.
But actually, when
Once you go out,
when you put it to full size, that's actually almost too long for me, and I've got monkey's arms, so you know that's pretty damn good. Yeah, cool. The only thing, do you know what? The only thing I'm not over keen on about that, and I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Is I don't like that little bit of wobble.
yeah, well, it comes with the territory, doesn't it? It's a part of it. This is all the fab defence stuff, though. So this is not none of your paintball stuff misappropriated, which you do see in this type of gun.
Yeah.
This is your Pucker Israeli stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But just to upstage you.
Oh, you.
I had to do
This
it.
is this like a is this that, are we going back to show and tell where you beat me?
Yes, this is it.
'Cause
This is
that's
exactly where we're going.
that's-
This is what the intention was, to completely ambush you.
Right.
And I've
Okay.
done it, haven't I? Yeah. There we go. So that is the Cerakote version, which is
Same price?
No more. £175 optional extra to have the Cerakote. And this one's also got an optional a sort of 3 rail, which you
It's
can
like something
bolt
on
on the
Predator. You can imagine like 3 lasers on that, can't
Absolutely
you?
right.
Yeah,
If
that's-
I'd have had 3 lasers, I'd have put them on.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I put this scope on with Picatinny mounts on a Viper Connect, so you can see how cool it looks. If cool is your thing, and I've got to say, if you're not into cool, then this is probably not a rifle you're going to buy, because it's got to be part of the image, hasn't it? Although the adjustable butt pad thing it has its merits.
There's a combination here of something that's like tactical.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, and practical as well.
Can we cut that?
I just made that up as well. That sounds so bullshit, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But there you go.
yeah.
So yeah, it's practical and tactical.
Yeah. Lunch,
You are
everybody.
going to cut. I don't know. I think we should leave that in so people need something to take the piss out of before.
Other than the hat.
Other than There you go. Right, that's going to confuse the issue, isn't it? Because everybody's going to go, he's wearing a hat, and
I think it's summer
and
again.
now I'm not wearing a hat. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, there is some really practical little. I mean, that's a great idea. To be honest with you, you can set it to yourself. Okay, so we've got. So we know about the book pad. We've got.
Yeah, just you've got
single shots.
There's a single shot adapter in that one. I put a magazine. That one, that's good, isn't it? We've done both. So it comes with a single shot adapter in the box, in the gun, and then it has a magazine in a bag, and that one's got it.
And there is
yeah, £100 more. So the base gun I think is £1,000, £999, isn't it? And then you go with the 175 Cerakote option, and then you can have the another £100, another £99 gets you the carbon bottle over an aluminium bottle. And the aluminium bottle is a 400cc. And the carbon fibre bottle is.
Do you know what? I've got to admit, I can't stand the look of carbon bottles. But on this gun,
I think it looks really well on this gun. I've had people criticise it on this gun and say, "Ooh, I don't like that," but I think it works on this gun.
That's the first gun I've seen where the carbon bottle actually doesn't look completely out of place.
Yeah.
If I was having a sporting rifle with a nice stock and wood or whatever, I would never have a carbon bottle, and I'm not really that. But in fact, actually, I like a bit more weight on the front of my guns.
It depends on. I mean, when you pick these guns weigh nothing. I mean, they're very, very light, 3.1 kilos or something all up. So you've got that's quite light for a full size target rifle that does like hundreds of shots, and they're very, very accurate.
And how many shots?
Don't know, quite a lot.
Okay, there we go.
It depends on the caliber.
We've really done our research on this, haven't we?
Yeah. We'll put it up. We'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, because I was going to say that's going to be with a regulator and that amount. It's going to be hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds.
Right. Okay.
Good luck counting them. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your silencer. That's your threaded adapter.
Whereabouts is the barrel finish? You know,
back here somewhere.
Right. Okay.
So it's got a reflex going on there.
So that is actually working as a bit of silencer.
Yeah, pretty good.
Right. Okay. That's.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, I like it.
Tactical.
Tactical and practical. I think it's a. Do you think it's a little bit on the expensive? Mind you saying that? Do you know what? Everything seems to be £1,000 these days. What's going on?
When you look at what they've had to build, what they've had to machine up, and the amount of tooling work involved in it, no, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
the way the world is. I'm afraid.
To be honest with you, I'll hold my hand up. This is just a bench review because I haven't shot this yet. Yeah. I literally just went into the shop and they were there and I said, great, that looks cool. Let's have a look at one. So we'll do we'll have a bit of a range test. Okay.
Right. I think we'll have a break.
Yeah. Let's have a Kit Kat. Yeah. Right. Okay. Back in 5. You can't
Tactical and practical. They've got to patent that.
Terrible! I can't believe I said that.
This is the hammiest show we've ever done, isn't it? By a long way. Talk about unslick.
But it should come back, and you should like, what's it? I should have a black eye. That'd be great. Yeah,
a ripped shirt. We're back.
I've been told. Actually, will come back, and I should be like that, and just going, I can't believe what I just said on that last video. Yeah. I'm never going to live it down.
Hi, I'm Steve from the British Shooting Show. Come and see us in February next year, 2019. We'll have wider aisles, more space, and a bigger and better show. Thank you.